Hi, Elisa. Can you hear us? Elisa, can you hear us?
Yes, I can hear you.
Okay, I'm just gonna put you on mute for a minute.
Alrighty. Thank you.
There was when I was driving.
Hello.
And I was driving but the wind was so powerful that it was not landing. The snow was not landing.
On the throughway, because there's always snow on the throughway.
Okay. Good evening. It is Wednesday, April 16th at 6:34, and I am calling the April Laws and Rules meeting to order. And the first thing on the agenda is Kingston Point Park Phase 2. We are looking over the short environmental assessment form, Part 2. Elisa, is Julie here or anyone? Or John?
John Schulteis is going to speak on this.
Okay, great. Is he here on Zoom?
Hey, evening. How are you?
Nice to see you.
Would you like me to give an introduction to the project or?
Sure,
I think that would be great.
thank you.
Great. Good evening. Yeah, Julie is out of town, I think so. She asked me to be here. This project will fix the parking lot that's subject to flooding at Kingston Point Park. And it's going to be a new parking area, largely in the same area, but somewhat smaller than the current parking lot. And most importantly, will be elevated. And it's going to include 53 parking spaces, generally on the eastern half of the current parking area. Julie has been working with a consultant to prepare construction plans. She has a grant funding in place for this. She intends to go to construction with this this year, likely in the fall. And it's been, I've seen the 60% engineering plans. I have those available here if there are any detailed questions about that. But tonight, we're asking the Laws and Rules Committee to consider a resolution to satisfy the requirements of the State Environmental Quality Regulation Act, SEQR. And for this particular action, it's believed to be an unlisted action. We're asking the council tonight, the committee, to review the materials that have been provided, the environmental assessment form, and render a decision as to lead agency and the significance of the environmental impact.
Okay. So I have gone through it. Do you want to just go through it point by point or just ask questions for John? I think the biggest question I would have is, since we are raising the elevation, how is that actually being done? What are the materials? And then just if you can speak to the stormwater discharge. I see it's going back
Sure.
into the
Sure.
wet
So,
plant.
yeah. So to the first question, as far as raising the eastern half of this parking lot, it would be done with select material, clean fill or granular material, depending on the ability to compact it. And then, the top layer would be standard blacktop, like we see in all our parking lots. The stormwater generally from the new parking lot would drain from the east to the west to the remainder of the parking lot that's being left low and allowed to become a wetland. And there'll be a drainage swale on that west end of the new parking lot to intercept and treat the stormwater before it's discharged to the wetland.
Okay, thank you. If the blacktop, if that were like pervious, would that damage the compaction of the raised elevation?
It wouldn't necessarily. With the new parking lot on the north side of Delaware, opposite here, used standard blacktop for drive aisles, and then pervious for the parking spaces themselves. Well, actually, I take that back. I don't think it did. It had a center crown with a rain garden area. But the decision to use the pervious has a lot to do with the nearby ground table. Those things work really well, and we've done some in Midtown area where the soil is sandy. Here, the depth to groundwater obviously is not very much, even after we fill this. So I think that the decision is to try to use conventional blacktop rather than some pervious pavement, which may not percolate on this particular location.
Okay,
More
thank
water
you.
coming up.
Yeah.
That's bad.
Yeah. All right, thanks. Anyone else?
Yeah, I just want to clarify, this is going to be on the same footprint as the current parking lot and so forth?
Yeah, just the eastern half will be raised and converted to a parking lot. The current western half, which is almost constantly flooded now, will be allowed to return to a natural state.
Okay. Thank you.
Michael?
I apologize if this has already been asked, but that second entrance to the parking lot,
Yes.
that visibility is rather low with the cattails coming through. Are we going to be cutting back the cattails?
Yeah, I mean, some of what's now recruiting cattails will be filled as part of this, but the majority, the western half, will be left low in its current condition and allowed to naturally recruit, wetland vegetation.
And can I ask,
Yeah, go ahead.
why do we need that second exit from the parking lot? It seems to work fine just now as is.
Yeah, in general, with the parking area, more than about 20 parking spaces, it's not good to have a dead end, because people are looking for parking. They arrive at the end and sometimes didn't find a parking space, and now there's nowhere to turn around. So it's not a good design to provide just a one-way in and then expect people to have to turn around if they can't find a space.
Will this be only egress then, or?
I believe it's as drawn. Yes, that's correct.
Thank you.
Anyone else?
No, I was just gonna say about the two entrances, I wanna support what Sean's saying. If you get an ambulance or a fire truck in there, you won't be able to get it out. So,
Or first.
Yes, basically,
I mean, it seems this is something that's really needed. I mean, I go down there all the time and I know Michael is there and it's, it's always
Yeah.
flooded and it's a problem.
John, how long will this take and then where will people park while under construction?
Julie probably has a schedule in mind, but I would estimate, active construction on something like this could be 4 to 6 weeks. And, I think she's trying to do it more into the fall when the demand on parking is not quite as high as it is during the summer.
Okay.
Yeah.
And how many parking spots is it currently when not flooded?
Well,
How many parking spots was it?
I'm gonna estimate it's about 100 today, and the finished product will be 53.
Okay, thank you.
Some of the part that it hasn't been maintained with all the lines, so I'm not sure there's an exact count on how many are there today.
Okay.
So for the part that's gonna return to, nature, we'll be ripping up the parking lot or just letting it?
I was in some meetings with Julie and the New York State DEC representatives about that exact question. And because of the progression and the recruitment that's already happening there, it seems the DEC's preference is not to disturb what's already started to recruit and to leave that surface submerged.
Yeah, I'm really happy to hear that because especially now you can see a lot of uncommon species in Kingston are actually nesting there now. There's some wood ducks and stuff. It's pretty cool.
Yeah.
Okay, so does everyone agree that I just have to write up the committee report that we want to declare ourselves lead agency on this?
I move we declare ourselves an
Okay.
agency for this project.
All right.
I will second that.
Okay, and then that the second part of the resolution will be that we are declaring that we're doing a short form EAF and we're declaring no negative environmental, it's a
No
negative
significant-
declaration of environmental significance.
significant.
Yeah. We're actually,
that's significant.
okay.
Beneficial.
And then it's
Fine.
unlisted, yes?
That is correct.
Unlisted, okay.
You need another motion for that?
No. Just making sure we're covering all the bases here. Making.
Interesting.
25 cents? Is it 25 cents?
No, it's 10,000.
Okay,
100,000 cents.
Yes.
attached. All right, so the resolution reads, a resolution of the Common Council of the City of Kingston, New York, declaring the Common Council as lead agency and making a negative declaration on the short environmental assessment form as per attached. Can I get a motion?
Motion.
Second? Okay, all in favor? Anyone opposed? Passes unanimously. Thank you, John. Have a good night.
Thank you. Good night.
Thanks, John.
Thank you.
All right. Second on the agenda. Hi, Lisa.
Hi.
will be, we're going to be, we do this every year. We're passing the standard workday retirements reports of activities for our elected and appointed officials for the New York State retirement system. Anything that you would like to add, Elisa?
Nope, that's pretty much it. This is just housekeeping that I have to hand this in within a certain amount of time, so.
Okay. All right.
I have a question.
Yes.
What is the actual standard workday?
So it is based on what I receive from the aldermen who have opted into the retirement system. So I need to collect a 3-month calendar every year. And then there's a formula that gets calculated and it gets sent to the state. And they just want to know that that you guys are really working, basically.
Okay, thank you.
Thank you. All right, so it's a resolution to adopt the standard workday for 2025.
I
Motion,
move we adopt the resolution.
I'll second that.
all in favor?
Aye.
Anyone opposed? Passes unanimously. Thank you, Lisa.
Thank you.
I must say, the new YouTube formatting of the playlists really helped find like the times of some of the meetings if I forgot what they were, how long they went. Okay. All right. Next up on the agenda is item 3. Alderwoman Edwards is back to discuss the food truck legislation.
Well, we discussed this with, one of the lawyers and, did you send that out to everyone now? Okay, so.
I have resent it back to you guys, and then I just sent it to Michelle. Who else would you want me to forward that to?
So I-
Send it to Alderman.
I didn't get it.
I'm gonna just push the ball.
Oh, you just sent it.
You said Alderman. I just got it.
Yeah.
Oh.
Yeah, I haven't seen it yet.
So I would just say that you guys should review it beforehand.
Yes.
Any feedback that you guys have. And then I understand that there have been some new issues pertaining to the vehicles that are parked close to the corner and doing that after hours when we don't have parking enforcement working.
Right,
So what I would just say with regard to that is reaching out to the police department and making the chief and the sergeants on duty aware so that they can pick up some enforcement after hours so that we can potentially avoid the dangerous condition that's being created.
it's totally dangerous. The other day, I just seen another lady, she didn't have like all the normal stuff with her baby carriage and everything. And she almost got hit just looking around the truck again so she could get by the truck to cross the street. So this is, since nobody really has any trucks in their ward, and the ward is, most wards aren't as tight as Ward 4, I really stress that we take a fast approach on this before somebody does die. Because it's gonna happen. Someone's gonna get hit because the trucks are just too close to the curb, to the corners. So, Matt did draw up something, if we want to put this on for next month. The quicker the better.
So I have a question. So our parking enforcement, they sent us photos.
They sent it.
That street, that trailer was not parked close to the corner.
No, it's everything else that goes beyond that. Like, the trucks pull up right behind that, and they go right to the corner.
Okay, so what trucks, like customers?
Yeah,
Okay, so I called Chief Tinty today just to talk to him about it, and I wanted to know, like, we can't, my opinion is we can't punish a business for where people park, right? Like in my ward, a restaurant, there was a parking issue, that had to be fixed, but it's not the problem of the business, right? So I asked if we can possibly put cones in the no parking areas as like another reminder for people.
the street's just not big enough for these.
Okay, but in the meantime,
Yeah.
like, so that we don't have anyone get hurt.
I'm so scared of that happening, and we're fighting so much. All of us see the problem.
Okay, And then after hours, as Matt said, the police department would need to be notified because they're not hearing anything about it. So, I think that parking enforcement is taking up most of it. But again, I did look at current legislation that we have. Do these vehicles have commercial plates?
I don't think so. I think
Some do, some don't.
Right.
I would suggest that we look at what
Yeah.
Matt's prepared and send it around to everybody and get input. There's issues in here that are, we met with Matt a year ago.
Yeah.
And had a lot of issues that we talked about, and I think that I haven't reviewed the legislation, I have to confess. I have it again, I'll look at it, I think
Okay.
we should look at it before
Okay.
we get into the details here, because we don't know.
Okay.
Right, and I don't see it in my email.
Yeah.
Yeah, it hasn't been sent to any of
Well-
you guys.
Oh, it hasn't been sent.
No.
Oh, that's why it's not there.
But Sarah, you were involved in the conversations.
I was involved in the
You should-
conversations
I'm gonna forward
earlier.
it to you,
Yeah,
okay?
I remember those conversations.
There were a lot
It's
of,
just, it's getting scary now, so.
Yeah.
Before something tragic happens.
okay, so I just forwarded it to you, so the three of us who were with Matt when we kind of talked about it, should look at it, see if it makes sense, and then we'll send it to everybody else. Does that make sense?
Well, I think just the whole committee should
Might
just
as well
have it at
send it.
this point, because we're discussing it.
I think so too.
We could do that. We could send to everybody, we don't send to everybody, it's too complicated.
And we don't want to put people out of business. That's not the reason
No,
why
it's-
this
it's
is
not.
all.
No.
This is not what this is about, putting people out of business.
So that's, if I may.
Yeah.
That's part of my concern. It does feel like we're targeting one specific industry. Where, in my ward, there are a couple food trucks, but the main issue is like landscaping trucks and other commercial vehicles. Like, how can we discriminate against one kind of commercial vehicle when it seems like this issue is just trailers in general?
Well, it's just where they are.
It's just
It's
where.
where they are. It's where they are. It's not anything else except for where they are.
In other words, they were parked
But
30
where
feet.
they are is not the issue. Where they are, what the issue is where customers are parking, is my
Well,
understanding.
No,
It gets to
no,
be
it's
both.
large. You've seen it yourself.
Yeah, I have too.
So it's exactly where they are. That's the problem, where they are. That truck is too big for that. There's no way, that truck is too big to be right on that corner. If they went down 100 more feet, it would be okay because they're right by then the rail trail where there's like an indentation where they could probably pull off. Leaving them right on the corner, each one of them corners, it's so dangerous. It's not, it's gonna happen. It's coming.
I'm not even disputing that, but
Okay.
again, we're talking about that business. It really feels like we're targeting one entity over a
You don't see
larger
anybody else
commercial
parking.
vehicle.
We've had, Terrell and I, we've had conversations
Then just
about,
ban commercial vehicles from this one street.
It's
Well,
nothing, it's just
No.
moving the corner part of it is the problem.
well, the other thing is where do they go? So
As
we've
I
had conversations
understand
But
about-
now,
As I understand, I think the safety issue has to do with like customers on foot coming to them as they're operating their businesses on the corner. Whereas like, let's say a different commercial vehicle, like a landscaping, it's not like there's customers on a regular basis coming to that corner and then, walking across. So I think that's, as I understand it, how the safety issue arises. So creating regulations for this business then keeps it from pedestrian customers walking on the corner, walking across the street at the corners, and helps alleviate the safety hazard.
Sarah?
so I have a question. So this isn't really about the business, to what Michael was saying. This is about, would there be a no parking here to corner sign that would set back, say, 20 feet or 40 feet beyond where it is now, so that it's extended, so it means that no one can park in that whole strip?
Well, cars parked there, you can see over the cars, or something like that, but the truck, say the one on Ellendorf.
Mhm.
There's no way of seeing around the truck when you're coming from, say, the parking lot there, and you're walking, you literally have to really, you watch the signs and everything, but if you have somebody that's not paying attention, they'll be flattened. You can't see around the truck. Like if you have a car parked here, you could see, coming this way, you could see over the car, a car coming or a truck coming. There's no visual.
Right,
The
so it's
all you
also,
see is the big truck.
so is it a matter of a height restriction too? I
It's,
mean, so that if a vehicle taller than such an, however many feet
yes,
is parked
and
there.
that truck is in total compliance. That truck
I
is in
see.
total compliance, but you can't see around it. Walking. Bicycles cannot see around it. People walking cannot see around it.
There's also some business owners that are not happy with having a food truck next to their restaurant.
Right,
I don't think that's really our problem. Where somebody wants to set up a business that's allowable under the code.
I don't,
You know, that's,
I don't think
yeah,
anybody's
that
disagreeing with
business
that.
could,
right. I'm saying, that's why it's come to us.
But then when it comes down to the other meeting of the road, if that business closes, I mean, those are not the thing is the public safety. I brought it to you, public safety. I still stand on that the public safety, I'm seeing more and more of it.
yes.
It's
agree.
the problem of where it's parked. Like I said, go down further, I'm fine with it. I mean, because it leaves a space where you can see around. And you're not in the walkway there, but that walkway, if you put it, here's the walkway, it could be down here. If they can't see around it and they're too big for these little
For the
corner
little
signs.
corners, yeah.
All three of them.
And what about the issue of hours? Like, I thought that was something that was brought up as well.
That was
For
from the
overnight.
restaurant. That was the restaurant guy, he was
Okay.
the one on Elmendorf, he's open till like 11 and 12. And he's
Okay.
packed at that time of night, he has a lot of
Yeah.
people.
Because we do have code for, under general legislation, trucks parking, like no overnight parking
Right.
between 8 and 7 for anything over 10,000 pounds.
So the other one on Neal Street, they just, he said point blank, he's not moving his truck. You could ticket him every day, he's not gonna, but meanwhile, on Neal Street is big, I don't really his needs to be moved, they don't do it, they won't do it. But the other two, I'm so concerned about.
And our present laws require them off the street at night.
Yeah,
Right,
yeah, they do. I mean,
Yeah.
if they're, I mean,
Right.
the peddler solicitor legislation says that the police can revoke their license
And,
if they're not following.
a lot of people have complained about it. The one on Elmendorf, he drives it there and he drives it home every night. He's off the street. Like I said, he's the one that's in compliance, but you just can't see around him. So, but the other two, they don't.
And the chief said there's about 11 licenses that are given out for food trucks.
okay.
so it does seem like there's already a lot of stipulations in the code that would assist this, they're just not being enforced.
Right.
So why would making more laws do that? Like if the police department, or if we need another code enforcement officer, I would understand that in the budget to enforce the code. Clearly, it seems like it's not being, the existing code's not being enforced, so what's gonna make this new code be enforced?
Well, Jeannie, I would suggest that like you ask to have the cones put in place for the
Okay.
time being.
Yeah, but definitely.
So that people can't park
Right.
where they're not supposed to be parking to begin with.
I definitely will call that.
Yeah.
And have, reach out to KPD after parking enforcement is off.
So, from what I understand, Vinnie's been giving tickets.
Well, the one issue is, I know the tickets, they're like $25, $50 tickets. And, it's a small cost to do business
Right.
if you're, making hundreds, if not thousands of dollars in sales.
And he said that.
So it's not really a deterrent,
Right.
whereas, with, which most larger cities, does have regulations for these types of food trucks and mobile, food, carts, things of that nature. So having regulations where there's, higher fees if there are violations and where potentially permits can be revoked. And then they're no longer allowed to do business if there's repeated expenses. I think that kind of gives more of a incentive to follow the rules.
Well, I liked when I think it was you that suggested the boot after 5 tickets. I really think that's very fair if they get 5 tickets, pull their license for 6 months or something like that, just to, something heavy, because then they're totally disregarding. And that's what I said before at this table, that they totally disregard any law that we have. And I find that to be insulting to the whole city. And now you're putting people in danger of getting hit by a car. I mean, this is, to me, unbelievable that we're not making any kind of moves on this whatsoever. And if this was any place else in the city, and I'm gonna say it, any place else in the city, this wouldn't have been a problem. They would have been ticketed, they would have been towed and everything else, and it's just starting to show that Ward 4 is not being heard, and that's kind of being very unfair.
I don't believe that's true.
This is the 3rd time I brought it to the table and we're still going.
Well, you were given a draft,
You were
so if
given-
you want to discuss this, we can
Yeah.
discuss this on the record, but you were given a draft.
No, I'm right.
There's no response back to the draft, so
So-
our office doesn't, we don't read the legislation, you're the legislator.
It's not
We
going.
provide you by writing
There's
this.
1,000 questions.
assistance,
No,
But,
there's always 1,000
Unfortunately.
questions, and the bottom
but
line
you
is,
gotta, if you want answers, you gotta ask those. questions.
how far do we have to, I'm worried about somebody getting hit by a car.
Yeah.
That's my
That's a valid
first,
concern.
this is a public safety issue more than anything else. And I started out with that, I'm still standing on that. We have to do something, and if it's Vinnie's writing tickets, then we have to do something. I like the 5 tickets and something, I really do like that, I think that solved everything. Not in
Or some serious penalty. is really
Right.
what that was
To write a
saying.
whole-
So you have this draft again.
No,
take a
no,
look at it.
everybody has it, so.
Provide feedback, and it's up to you as legislators to push these things through, So basically, if there's changes you want made to the draft, you gotta get back to our office, tell us, okay, we want these changes. If you like the draft as is, communication, get it here, get it moving through.
And the process does take a long time. I mean, it took me
It does.
months to get the overnight parking in the parks, but finally we got something that actually everybody thought was really good, so it was worth the effort to do that.
Yeah, and then, my thing, the draft was very good, it was very detailed. I'm the type of person that just, I look at it, I see that there's a solution 5 tickets here, then you get a pull that will get them moving to not get 5 tickets. That's a very severe, especially, then you're interfering with someone's business.
Right.
Then their money is being, so that to me, there's the problem solved right there. But the detailed, it was very good.
Well,
Yeah.
just, you
So
gotta,
now
there's
everybody
momentum,
has it.
keep it moving forward, and that's.
Anyone else?
Okay.
Michael?
Yeah, we discussed, a couple months ago about the parks, there was gonna be a limit on the parks, is that still?
So to allow them, but not allow, right now.
Yeah, because you need a concession permit right now.
Right, well,
That's
right now,
correct.
there's the food truck down at the Kingston Point is, in the road.
Mhm.
People stay on the road because you can't go to the park. That's probably not, doesn't make a lot of sense.
So the
Yeah.
solution would be to allow them in the parks?
Under this, it would be allowed, and I believe, and I'm looking back through, is that you will designate specific locations. And this was something like, so whichever parks you want to allow them, and then people can get permits for those specific locations.
Okay, cool.
I think we
Okay, yeah, I think that's.
Cool.
So it's not like every single public park, but you guys will identify a list of specific locations. And I believe Lindsay
Lindsay
back did provide feedback
Yes.
on where she thought that would be appropriate.
Okay.
Cool, I'd like to see that. if
And
possible.
yeah, I'd like to see that too, but I have another question, but this is different than having a festival or something when food trucks are invited to come in and they can get a permit
Yeah, that's
from
a
the
separate
parks.
event.
Now, if they pay, because what is it, $150 for a parking spot in public park, Kingston Park, public parking?
125?
125? What happens if they go and get spot
What do you
Remember
mean?
In the municipal parking lot.
in the municipal parking lot.
I think there's weight restrictions also on, there was some kind of size and in the,
I don't know.
I saw on the application for the parking.
Okay,
And they would still, they could, under, if the law is passed, they would still need a permit to operate a food truck.
They can't sell food there, they can park a
Yeah,
truck.
They
they
could park
could
the
park the
truck.
truck
They could
potentially
park the
there,
truck.
Which is fine.
but they can't be,
Right.
operating their business out of it unless they have the permit.
right, it would be an option, so they could park their truck there overnight.
Yes.
Okay.
Thank you.
So we'll all look this over and, you know, send any changes or whatever to you, or comments. And then we'll talk about it next month, okay?
Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you, Mel, I apologize for not reading it earlier.
No problem.
All right, so, okay, the REST Act is in this packet, but we're not, that's going to housing. So the next item on the agenda is Hudson River Cruise lease.
All right, so I can provide some insights. So as many of you are aware, Hudson River Cruises has been operating at Kingston for, I know the earliest, yeah, it was like 1982 or something was the earliest agreement that I had found. And they're generally under this agreement, under the terms have changed where basically we pay to lease the state property under the bridge there, and then they pay that to us, the same cost that we're paying for the state permit, and they operate from there. The lease did expire at the end of last year, so that is why it is before you. The lease needs to be renewed, so that they can continue to operate from that location.
So this is the lease that we had with them,
Yes, this is the lease that we have with them.
not the
We-
lease that the state with.
We keep paying the state for that permit, yeah, and that doesn't, it like automatically renews unless we change it, so the state just gives us a bill, we just pay. So this is the lease agreement that we have with them, so it's just like every other one that we've had, and I think I attached the most recent one, 5 years. None of the terms change. I did just add in just verifying because they are an out-of-state company. They operate from another state. That basically just a clause that says that New York State law controls this agreement, and any actions would be brought into County of Ulster. So that's the only change whatsoever, is just pertaining to choice of lawn venue, but nothing pertaining to the actual terms of the agreement.
Sorry, we don't care about the, well, I mean, this is a new writ,
Yes.
if you will. We don't care what the vote is, right?
No, but we are, under the agreement, it does have a description of what that vote is, and that is the same as what we have with the state. So if they were to like come in with a vote twice the size, we wouldn't be allowed, there would be an issue there.
Michael?
Yeah, did they have to abide by our, like, idling code?
They have to abide by all state and local regulations and laws, yeah. So if they don't, they should be cited for that. And I also know that if they're like, one of the requirements, they do have to maintain insurance, so if there's any kind of property damage or other issues that occur, the city is named and indemnified in case something happens there.
Anyone else? Any questions?
No, I guess, just one question to Matt. So in your review of this, you feel like the city is protected and it's similar, you know, in substance, as you said?
It's identical to the terms
The
that we
previous
pretty
ones
much
that were
had.
there that have worked
Other
well
than
over
just
the years.
because they were an out-of-state company, I wanted to just make
Right.
sure that we had that in case there ever was litigation. We're not defending ourselves in federal court or South Carolina or whatever it is. Yeah.
Thank you for that.
You tell them.
Aren't they in Florida?
They could.
I thought they were like South Carolina.
My recollection.
Thinking I would represent us if we had to go In Florida.
All right, well, you guys can strike that.
Going
I move that we adopt this kind of contract.
Okay,
But
all in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed?
the first rip was sold and sank, right? What was it? The first rip, this is a replacement.
It wasn't the rip, what was the smaller one?
The teal?
The teal, that's saying.
Would it rip tear? Was it-
The teal sank us in Florida.
Yeah,
When was that?
A few years, it wasn't too long
about
ago.
8 years
No.
now, 10 years.
Maybe 8, 10 years.
Yeah, that was a big thing. Yeah.
And was anyone on it when it sank?
Actually, someone was.
That was quite the party boat.
Yeah.
Oh, yeah?
Yeah, it was.
Maybe I had too many guys on it.
Exciting.
All right, so then under old business, we have, our zoning task force referrals that went out to Ulster County Planning Board. And this historic landmarks in the city planning board, some of these have come back, so we need to set a public hearing. The last resolution we passed last month, we said that we will set a public hearing. So it just needs to be a quorum of the Laws and Rules Committee. So I'm just wondering if people would be available maybe before caucus, the next caucus. So we don't set that now.
I
Okay,
don't go to because I'm moving like in 3 weeks.
okay. When do you leave?
May 2nd.
Okay.
Second.
You're gone for 3 weeks?
Guess we teach.
Bob, would you be able to,
We're talking about, the
the
Okay.
fifth?
fifth, yeah, sure.
Okay, I can do the fifth. Sarah, would you be able to commit to the fifth? So
I
we can
think
at
so.
least just get the date and then we'll
Yeah, if it's,
check with Carol.
Yeah, just set a time.
Okay,
so this is May, oh, yeah. Wait, when is caucus?
it's at 7 on the fifth.
Potential meeting from like 5:30 to 6:30, but I don't have to go to that meeting.
Okay. I'm thinking we don't need more than half an hour. I don't think we're gonna, this don't seem very
All we're doing is-
controversial.
all we're doing is setting the public hearing, right? Or-
No, it would be for the public
Oh,
hearing.
for the public hearing,
Yeah,
right.
Exciting. We don't expect it.
no,
This is not a controversial.
these are really
issue.
dry amendments.
Okay. People have already spoken publicly.
Yeah. All right, so we'll set it for Monday, May 5th at 6:30 PM before caucus. Elisa, did you hear this?
Yes, well
Okay.
set.
You'll notice it. Okay, thank you. And so it looks like Ulster County is saying that they have, there's no impact for them.
Yeah, I saw that, it looked like. That was good.
And with that, we are at the end.
Who cares? They just don't feel like they need to express that.
Okay, all right. I misunderstood.
We are at the end of,
Ready for a motion to adjourn?
we're good?
I have nothing else
Okay.
that needs to be brought before.
So just talk about.
Well, let's just, get a motion to
Motion to adjourn?
adjourn.
I would so move.
Okay,
Second.
okay. And we are adjourned. It is 7:16.
I did.
Thank you. Have a good night.
Bye.